Now then, it's Betfred's football show. It's the international break, but we're going to start with the big news in the Premier League about managers. And Steven Gerrard has officially taken the Aston Villa job. Well, head coach is his official title. Paul Parker's alongside me. So, 5 defeats on the bounce, Parks, but has Dean Smith been harshly treated?
I think it's harsh. But saying that, I think it's harsh what happened with the Watford manager as well. After 6 games, I think he went as well. That should have been done maybe the end of last season when he gained promotion, to decide then that he wasn't ready for the Premier League. I look at what he's done, Dean Smith, and I think that's really harsh what they've gone and done. I mean, as the saying goes, he's one of their own as well. I didn't see many issues. I question maybe the decision he made with his captain, leaving him out. Not question it against him, question it that he's made a tough call, and that might have gone against him in a certain way. So I'm not sure if he got enough help from Mings as his club captain, just by the way he was sitting on the bench. That wasn't the way a captain should be, in the way he conducted himself when he was left on the bench. So those little things, making those big decisions, or one of those big decisions, might have gone against him.
So Gerrard's taken over. Look, I think we all know he'd love to manage Liverpool one day.
Yeah.
So what has Gerrard got to do at Villa to take that next step? What's success for Gerrard?
He's just got to do a decent job. People can say about winning things at Villa, that's a bonus for Aston Villa to win something, but put him in a more positive position, maybe a position that fits the football club really.
Top 6?
I think it has to be for Aston Villa. You know, when you talk about Birmingham, they're the biggest club in Birmingham, without a doubt, because of what they've got behind them. And they're a club that can entice the right players if they're in the right position. Now they've got a big name manager, that will help them as well to attract the players, and maybe that's what the owner's looking at, or the chief exec, whoever it is. Maybe that's what they're looking at. Dean Smith maybe wasn't fitting the profile they wanted, but what are Villa looking for? You know, like you're saying, they're sitting 11th at the moment. What is their best fit, where they think they should be for what they want to spend? So Dean Smith didn't spend a lot of money, did he really, either?
And for Gerrard, he's only 41 years of age. You mentioned Rangers, winning a Scottish Premiership. Didn't lose a game that season as well. First title in 10 years, number 55, which Rangers fans will never forget. Look, this is a big step for Gerrard, isn't it? 41 years of age.
It is a big
This could make or break his managerial career.
It's a big step, but I think it's a brave step. Many people thought he could sit there and maybe try and get a bit more behind him, but they might have to compete a little bit harder this year with Celtic, and if they weren't to win it, all that work maybe gets put behind again because of the rivalry between the two clubs. The only two clubs who are equipped to win that division at this moment in time. So if that didn't materialise, and that might put him back, he might see that. And Steven Gerrard was a brave player. He was always up front, never hid. So he's gone at it, and he's willing to take that gamble. So I think you have to turn around and maybe in a certain way pat him on the back and say, you know, well done for taking it. It's a different one compared to Frank Lampard. If people want to try and put the two together, Frank Lampard went to a club where he was a megastar, he was a legend. They idolised him for what he achieved as a player. But he went into that job, in my opinion, too quick. But when that's thrown in your face, I think it's a difficult thing to turn down.
Giovanni van Bronckhorst is the odds-on favourite to take over at Rangers. Won the title with Feyenoord in 2017. Obviously, Rangers player, 117 games with Rangers, won 2 titles as well. Right then, so Gerrard is the new gaffer at Aston Villa. Good luck to him. Brighton at home, then Palace away, and then a trip to Anfield on the 11th of December. Aston Villa in 16th place at the moment, mainly down to those 5 defeats on the bounce. So Dean Smith went at the weekend. Norwich got rid of their boss at the weekend. Could Frank Lampard end up at Norwich? But let's talk your old club, Manchester United. Well, can you put into words Saturday, first of all? Wasn't a derby performance for Manchester United. They didn't leave a scratch on a Man City player, did they? No,
it was weak and pathetic, to be perfectly honest. There's no other way you can put it. The second half was totally embarrassing. I was working on the game, and I felt it was worse than Liverpool. Absolutely worse than Liverpool. I saw players who were reliving that game, who have just, that extra yard they had in that game in the second half wasn't in that game against City, weren't getting close on 3-4 different occasions. City got more than 15, 16 passes against them. And that just wasn't in their own half. That was playing in the Manchester United half as well. And they were still being progressive that way, not sitting at the back and doing it the easy way. They were putting themselves in difficult positions, still trying to break them down. So United didn't offer enough. It wasn't a derby at the weekend. You can't call it a derby because it was never played in that manner. After the first 10 minutes, it was never there. David De Gea made 5 crucial saves.
Oh, it could have been 5-0 like this.
Crucial saves inside of 5 minutes. Not the first half. Inside of 5 minutes, he made 5 crucial saves. So that tells you something. And we're talking about an alleged derby game, Manchester United v Manchester City. So United were poor. David De Gea again saved Manchester United. I know that Roy's had a go at him. I thought that's the only bit I disagree with Roy on that one. I thought David De Gea was so important. You can talk about the last goal and maybe question, because again, it goes in at near post. People want to blame goalkeepers. But you have to ask a question of your defenders and why they don't relate to someone over their shoulder. If they're the last man at the back, you look over your shoulder because people do run behind you, especially if you're a fullback when someone's coming wide. Luke Shaw, again, hasn't done that. He had his back to where it should be. The ball was in front of him. He was letting the ball run across his body to use his left foot. Just get to the ball as early as possible. Don't wait for the goalkeeper to call for it or try. Just kick it. And if you catch the goalkeeper, say sorry once the ball has gone. That doesn't happen. It just didn't happen twice. Twice the ball went in behind them. Twice they conceded goals.
Luke Shaw clearly having a dip in form. Another man having a dip in form, Harry Maguire. Has he come back too quick from injury? Or is he just having this dip?
How much is it a dip in form, or is just the fact of maybe the truth may be coming out about their defending? It's lazy defending. Someone goes in behind you, you put your arm up. You don't put your arm up. You run, you work hard to get back, you make the tackle, make the clearance, and then you see what comes out next. Not put your arm up and hope that someone on the touchline or the people sitting in an office by Heathrow Airport make a decision for you. You defend. Don't want to defend. Holding a line. If you're going to hold a line as a centre half, people don't go behind you and you dictate that. You don't stand a yard, 2 yards behind and then stick your arm up. Everyone's in a line, full-backs in front. But it's difficult to do at last weekend because United was supposed to be playing 3-5-2. They end up virtually playing like a 5. They had a 5 at the back, or at some point they were playing a 7-2-1. It was that bad. It was awful. You're sitting there watching it, and the only thing that stopped me getting up and just walking away from it is that I was working on a game. I had to talk for 90 minutes about that.
Are you that angry about what's going on then?
I was disappointed in what I saw there. The Liverpool one I think I was in shock what was going on there, but Man City...
So you were more upset about that City performance?
Yeah, I would say so, because you would never expect that to happen again at home in an equally big game. At all levels, that is still a big game. Manchester City are the team to beat in the Premier League at this moment in time, winning more Premier League titles than any other club. So when you're their neighbours and you're their rivals, you want to compete. They never competed 2 Saturdays prior, and they didn't compete last Saturday. So it tells you there's no step forward. You can talk about stuff and you can pull it on Twitter and say how we're sorry and next time we're going to do better. Well, then do better. You can't guarantee a result, but you should be able to guarantee people that you're going to work hard. And that didn't materialise.
Where do you stand on the situation with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer?
Well, I'm looking at it and there's nowhere to go at the moment. Who do you bring in who's going to make a difference? You bring someone in to change it up and get them to lay a foundation for someone else to come in and to take it on, or do you stick with what you got? But somewhere along, I think someone's got a demand. He needs to have someone next to him, who's got a very good idea how he can improve that squad. Individuals, start calling out the individuals. Start telling people. We're in a world now where people can't shout at people because they get upset. And I said this before, find out about them. Get them upset. Tell them the truth about their game. It hurts.
I think the dressing room you were in, and the big characters, Kane, Schmeichel, Bruce. You'd have sorted a lot of this out amongst yourselves, wouldn't you?
You'd have been told. Roy would have turned around and told you if you'd have been, as Roy put it, you was crap at the weekend. Roy would say that to you on a Monday morning if it was that way.
Do you think that's not going on in this dressing room?
I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think everyone's in their own little world. There might, if there was, say, in a dressing room 10 in my dressing room, there may be only 2 now who are like that, who would come and say it. But you can just see the way, there's no one shouting at each other. There's no one. Luke Shaw made a massive mistake. Didn't start from him, but he finished with him. And he could have dealt with that. And then he could have turned around and look where it come from. And then pointed his finger. But the moment that happened, it was kind of, and then wander back. No one communicating. No one having a go. The only one having a go was David De Gea. Not in the same levels as Big Pete.
Yeah, and he showed his anger at half-time, didn't he?
He wasn't happy. He wasn't happy in what's happening to him. So you need someone in there who's willing to call players out. You can't, it's your job. It's your job. You have to remember, football is your job, but it's a job that you're supposed to love. And so no one should actually be able to take that away from you because you love it and you're in it for that reason, because you want to be the best at it. And a lot of them are just happy to be at the club and to tell people, look where I am. And have that and just be recognised as a Manchester United player, rather than be recognised as a Manchester United player who's competing to win big games and win trophies.
So to sum this chat up, you're backing Ole, but you want him to be stronger with the players.
He needs to be stronger, but I think it starts with someone of more experience and someone with more stature in that dressing room working as his assistant. He's head coach. He needs someone with him. Mickey Phelan's there. I don't know if Mickey's allowed to go in there and do, but he needs somebody, because I'll tell you what.
Well, Mickey's seen it, done it,
yeah,
because he worked so long,
yeah,
so many years with Fergie.
I don't know how far Mickey can go, to be perfectly honest. I don't know. But he needs someone in there to do something. All the great teams that Manchester United have had, you look at the people working next to Sir Alex Ferguson. It didn't bother him about having different people with him to try and gain more experience, to make his team better, because whoever come in and done it, his team got better, made himself as a manager better, didn't it? Because he's managed that
Archie
situation.
Knox, Brian Kidd, Steve McLaren.
Carlos Queiroz.
Yeah.
The
late Walter Smith came and helped.
Yep, that's right. That's how you do it. You just do that. There's nothing wrong admitting it, that you need a bit. People ain't going to come out and say, oh, but they've done it all. They'll turn around and look at where it started from. The person who made that decision to bring that person in. And it needs that. The different voice, as they always say, but someone who's going to turn around and look at people and question them. You know, and I don't think that's happening, because this defending has gone on, poor defending, people sleeping, people naive, people who don't want to do the hard yards, which is running back to your own goal. That's the hardest. 20 yards forward is easy. 20 yards back is hard work, because you know you got to recover that situation and then go back the other way. People don't want to do it.
Let's talk Premier League table very, very quickly. We've got some internationals to talk about. We had to talk about what was going on at Aston Villa and Manchester United. Chelsea are 3 points clear of Man City. Man City are title favourites. They're my title favourites at the moment as well, I think, Man City. But Chelsea are 3 points clear.
They are. Chelsea, they let themselves down at the weekend, even though they absolutely dominated Burnley. You know, and Tuchel can say what he wants. He didn't win the game. Burnley are Burnley. They just cause surprises. They can do. If you sit there at 1-0 and you're, so-called super club, then go and make it 2, 3, 4. But you sit at 1-0, you're leaving yourself wide open against a club like Burnley, and that's what happens. And their consistency isn't there at this moment in time. They're going to be there competing. I said at the start of the season, I quite fancy Chelsea to win it from Tuchel when he arrived last season, what he done, everything. But they need to add that little bit more for people to really believe in them. City are going to be there competing without a shadow of a doubt. Even without a centre forward at the weekend, you can still see they can score goals. Different players can score goals. They're the kind of teams that win leagues, not relying on one goal scorer. Teams who get goals from every department can always compete and win leagues.
And if you erase 2013 from the history books, right now, David Moyes would be linked to Manchester United, wouldn't he, the job he's doing at West Ham?
He would do, but David Moyes, certain managers suit certain clubs. David Moyes, at that given time, didn't suit Manchester United in the way he wanted to do it. He's gone to West Ham and he's virtually done very similar to what he'd done when he arrived at Manchester United, but it's a different kind of club. But he had that history at West Ham where he was in there before and they let him go. They brought in what they thought a bigger name, Pellegrini. He's won the Premier League, he had this, but they brought Pellegrini back from China. You know, he was a 70-odd-year-old fella who was coming back looking for a pension for his great-grandchildren. He had no drive in him. He spent a lot of money on big players, and then none of them are there really playing. The big players who cost a lot of money are not playing for West Ham at this moment in time. It's grafters, it's
But
honest
what a
players.
job Moyes is doing. And Stuart Pearce has gone back as well.
Well, Pearson, that's where it
One of
started
your
from
old
when
teammates.
Stuart come back. That's when it kind of stemmed from. When the moment he stepped back into there, he isn't on the bench because when I go there and I work there, Stuart sits behind me, always sitting behind me. But he's made a difference, and when he's just there with the players, he's straight and to the point. Stuart, that's never changed, and both of them, and plus all the people around there as well, have made a massive difference. It's a tough thing living around where I live, and everyone at the moment in time, you know. West Ham are massive is the shout at this moment in time.
Well, they're third in the table. They've had a great victory over Liverpool and they're playing very, very well, and David Moyes is doing a great job. Can Eddie Howe turn it around at Newcastle? Brentford at home, Arsenal away, Norwich at home.
I'm going to say, as I said before, certain managers are suited to certain clubs. The last time he went north, and he went a little bit less north, was Burnley, and it never worked out. He's come back to Bournemouth, got them into the Premier League, kept them there, then they lost their way. It's not really what Newcastle fans are looking for. If you're talking about, they had so many big names. Terrible the way the people have done it. It's awful. At this moment in time, the way they've started it hasn't been good. What they've got at this moment is not what the Newcastle fans wanted. I think they're going to struggle. I really do. I don't think he can turn it around. In January, can he bring the right players in? He's not the name who's going to maybe bring the players in that Newcastle fans would want or expected. Even, you know, the far-fetched one would have understood a little bit, but I don't think it's going to work.
It won't be the name that brings the players in, though, will it?
No, yeah, but there's still that little bit. They've still got their egos as well, by the way, to don't want to put themselves in a vulnerable position, regardless of money.
England now. Albania, San Marino. England top of the group. 4 points they'll definitely need. They could just need 3 with a win over Albania if Poland failed to beat Andorra, but that's not going to happen, is it? So 4 points required. Albania at home, San Marino away. What a great position England are in here.
Yeah, and I really want to jump up and say, yeah, and really buzz it up, but it's Albania and San Marino. We've got to say that. We knew the moment.
No, these are qualifiers.
Yeah, I know, but qualifiers, they're like sleeper-viers, to be honest, really. Whatever you want to call them, they're like sleeping tablets. There's nothing there. It's totally qualifying for major tournaments is so uninteresting. That's why people are fed up at these international breaks, because they're killing what people are enjoying the Premier League at this moment in time. There's been some great bits. I've just come away, my last game was West Ham v Liverpool, absolutely fantastic. Couldn't wait for another game. And what's the next game? What the games we got an international break. It's killed a lot of things. People want to see, after what people have endured through life, everyone just wants to see club football. International football should have had a year's break.
But we need the qualifiers for the tournaments. Come on, we love the Euros.
Yeah, we love the Euros when they're competitive. Yeah. The qualifying is a complete waste of time.
But we need the qualifiers to get the big tournaments.
Yeah, I know, but the problem is the qualifiers do not help our national team, because we get to Euros and we haven't lifted our tempo in games. We saw what happened in the Euros. The moment we're asked to lift and get ourselves going for our biggest game ever, which was in the final since '66, we couldn't lift it because we don't play enough competitive games.
So you're not going tomorrow night then?
Eh?
You're not going tomorrow
night? I'm going tomorrow night because I told you. So don't throw that back in the face. There's better things. I should have kept it to myself, really. So you've talked me into that to say that, and now you just mugged me off.
Look, they need to put on a performance, don't they? I know it's Albania at home. It was a draw against Hungary last time at Wembley. I mean, someone like Kane, his record for England's superb, isn't it? 41 in 65. You know, he could get amongst the goals. Look, I still think it's half-decent entertainment tomorrow night.
Yeah, yeah.
But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
We've had a great start to Premier League, and we're having another break. I understand.
Yeah, I know it is hard work, and we took. I mean, you're going to go, and I'm going to thoroughly enjoy it going now, going to an international and not having to talk on the radio or anything like that, and just to go and watch it as an England fan. But you mentioned Harry Kane. He's got a glorious record at Tottenham, but he's not fulfilling it at the moment in time. Lacklustre. And that's, I don't want to go any lower than that, but I could do how he's been. He's got to show more energy for his country when he plays tomorrow. If he play, well, he should play, because at the moment there's no one really to compete at the moment. He's English. But he's got to show more hard work, more endeavour. Stay up front. Don't drop midfield. That's why England pick midfield players, because Harry Kane's up front. They'll give the ball to him, try and score goals. And that's what I think England fans want. They don't want Harry Kane dropping back. Looks good. Harry Kane assists. Don't want Harry Kane assists. You want Harry Kane scoring goals.
Scotland can guarantee a playoff spot with one win. They've got Moldova away and Denmark at home on Monday. I think Steve Clarke, once again, has done a very good job in his qualifying. Should get that playoff spot. They
should do. They've worked really hard for it. You can't underestimate them. They just can dig out results. They've got players who do it. They do it for what they've got on their chest, that badge on their chest, and they take pride when they go out and represent their country. And they've done really, really well. Steve Clarke has done immensely well, and he's always been very respected coach. Now he's a respected national team manager for what he's done for Scotland, because they've had some great ex-Scottish internationals trying to get there, and they just haven't done it. It doesn't make them any lesser managers than Steve Clarke. It just didn't work at their time. And I think even then, they had slightly, when you look at where their players were playing, those players were playing at high levels as well. But Steve Clarke has dug real deep and done really well.
Wales are third in their group, but level on points with the Czech Republic. They've got with Belarus at home on Saturday, and then Belgium at home. They could still get a playoff through the UEFA Nations League, but they're probably going to have to win both those games to guarantee a playoff in that group. But Gareth Bale will get his 100th cap on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the Welsh, and you can't underestimate them as well, the way they go, and especially with Belgium as well. I mean, Belgium are maybe one of the biggest myths ever in football. So-called best team, FIFA best team in the world, but they haven't achieved anything. Not achieved anything. They might have the best individual players, but they're not a team. They've never been a team. Just individual players who play at big clubs. That's all they were. They were never, ever a team as such. But for FIFA, it works. But in real life, it didn't work because they just wasn't good enough altogether.
Yeah. Parks, I've really enjoyed your company, and I know what you're saying about international breaks. It feels stop-start for the Premier League, doesn't it, which we love.
Yep, exactly right.
But good luck to everyone this weekend in those World Cup qualifiers. And if you're having a bet, of course, please keep it fun and gamble responsibly.